Imagine walking into a stadium packed with roaring fans. Now picture that same stadium not filled with people but with bottles of Sprite, millions of them stacked row after row shimmering under the lights. That's not just a wild image, it's reality. Every single day Coca-Cola's factories pump out over 1.5 million bottles of Sprite, a staggering number that could flood an entire football field in just a few days. And yet, despite the massive scale, every single bottle tastes just as crisp, tangy, and refreshing as the last. The real magic is how this lemon-lime soda manages to be both a global powerhouse and a familiar treat that feels personal each time you twist open the cap. So, how exactly does Sprite make its journey from carefully measured ingredients to that fizzy green bottle in your hand? Let's take a deep dive into the story, the history, and the fascinating production process behind one of America's favorite sodas. Sprite's journey actually began decades ago in an unexpected place, Germany. Back in 1959, Coca-Cola launched a lemon-lime drink called Fanta Claire Zitron, which means clear lemon Fanta. At the time, a bubbly citrus competitor, 7-Up, was already dominating the soda shelves, and Coca-Cola wasn't about to let that market slip away. Just 2 years later, in 1961, the drink was officially rebranded as Sprite when it made its U.S. debut. The name wasn't random, it was inspired by Coca-Cola's cheerful advertising mascot from the 1940s known as Sprite Boy. From the beginning, Sprite's identity was tied to being fresh, playful, and unapologetically youthful. And it worked. The soda caught on almost instantly thanks to its crisp, caffeine-free taste that appealed to people looking for something lighter than cola but still packed with flavor. Today, Sprite is sold in more than 190 countries, standing tall as one of the world's most beloved carbonated drinks. But Sprite's rise wasn't just about flavor. Coca-Cola made sure Sprite had an image that resonated with new generations. During the 1990s and 2000s, Sprite aligned itself with hip-hop culture, sponsoring music events and partnering with iconic artists. It wasn't just a drink, it became a cultural statement. Commercials featured basketball stars, rappers, and trendsetters, cementing Sprite as the drink of choice for young people who wanted to express energy, individuality, and style. By 2004, Coca-Cola expanded the brand further with Sprite Zero, a sugar-free version that kept the iconic lemon-lime kick without the calories. That innovation made Sprite a favorite for health-conscious soda lovers, giving it staying power in an increasingly competitive beverage market. Of course, no drink reaches this level of popularity without an extraordinary production process behind it. Let's step inside one of the modern Coca-Cola bottling plants to see how Sprite comes to life. It all begins with something deceptively simple: water. But not just any water. To maintain Sprite's legendary crisp taste, Coca-Cola uses a purification process that ensures every drop is free from impurities. Water passes through multiple stages of filtration, including sand filters, carbon filters, and even reverse osmosis, removing everything from minerals to microscopic particles. The result is crystal clear water that becomes the foundation of every bottle. It's amazing to think that something as basic as water undergoes such a transformation just to meet the exacting standards of your favorite soda. Next comes the sweetener. In the United States, Sprite is primarily made with high-fructose corn syrup, while in other countries cane sugar may be used. That sweetener, combined with natural lemon and lime flavor extracts, creates the signature taste. And while we know the broad strokes, the exact formula, the precise balance of sweetness, tang, and citrusy aroma, is one of Coca-Cola's most tightly guarded secrets. It's carefully measured and blended inside massive stainless steel mixing tanks, each one capable of holding thousands of gallons. Standing next to one of these tanks, you'd hear the soft hum of machinery and the rush of liquids swirling together, forming the unmistakable Sprite base. Once the mixture is prepared, it's time for carbonation, arguably the most exciting step. Carbonation is what transforms a sugary citrus mix into the bubbly soda we know and love. Inside specialized pressurized tanks, carbon dioxide, CO2, gas is injected into the liquid at extremely high pressures. This isn't just about adding bubbles, it's about creating that perfect mouthfeel, the tingling fizz that dances on your tongue the moment you take a sip. Even the slightest adjustment in pressure or temperature can dramatically change the texture of the soda, which is why technicians monitor this step with incredible precision. Imagine the thrill of opening an ice-cold bottle of Sprite and hearing that crisp, PS sound. That's carbonation at work, a moment of instant refreshment that never gets old. After carbonation, the soda is ready to be bottled. This part of the process is a mesmerizing dance of speed and efficiency. Conveyor belts move thousands of bottles every hour through washing, filling, and capping stations. Each empty bottle is first rinsed with pressurized water or air to ensure it's perfectly clean. Then, in a flash, high-tech filling machines pump Sprite into the bottles, carefully calibrated to avoid spilling or overfilling. Almost instantly, caps are twisted on, sealing in the fizz. If you watch closely, you can see rows of bottles rushing past faster than the human eye can track, each one identical, each one carrying the same crisp promise of refreshment. Packaging is the final step before Sprite makes its way to store shelves. Bottles are grouped, shrink-wrapped, or packed into cardboard cases, then stacked onto pallets by robotic arms. From there, they're shipped out to distribution centers across the country. The entire journey, from purified water to packed case, happens in a matter of hours, making it possible for Coca-Cola to supply millions of bottles every single day. Think about that. The Sprite you grab at a gas station on a hot afternoon may have been bottled just a day or two earlier in a high-tech plant not far from you. What's even more fascinating is how Coca-Cola ensures consistency no matter where in the world you buy Sprite. Whether you're in New York, Los Angeles, or a small town in Texas, the Sprite you drink is virtually identical in taste to the one someone is sipping in London or Tokyo. This global consistency is achieved through rigorous quality control. Samples are taken constantly during production, tested for sweetness, acidity, carbonation levels, and even aroma. Trained specialists ensure every batch meets Coca-Cola's high standards, rejecting any that don't make the cut. But Sprite isn't just about what's inside the bottle, it's about the way it connects with people. Advertising has always been a huge part of its identity. Over the decades, Sprite has been known for clever, witty, and youth-driven campaigns. The iconic "Obey Your Thirst" slogan from the 1990s still resonates with fans today, reminding people to stay true to themselves and refresh their individuality. In more recent years, Sprite has leaned into cultural moments, supporting social movements, celebrating music, and embracing diversity in ways that resonate with a new generation. It's not just soda, it's a brand with a voice. And let's not forget the role Sprite plays in everyday American life. It's the drink of choice at family barbecues, late-night pizza runs, and backyard parties. It's the soda you reach for when you want something light but still full of flavor. And it's a staple mixer at parties, blending effortlessly with everything from fruit juices to cocktails. That versatility is part of why Sprite continues to thrive even as beverage trends shift toward flavored waters, energy drinks, and teas. Sprite isn't just surviving, it's adapting, releasing new versions like Sprite Cherry, Sprite Tropical Mix, and limited edition flavors that keep fans excited and curious. Behind the fizz, there's also a growing commitment to sustainability. Coca-Cola has pledged to make its packaging more eco-friendly, focusing on recyclable bottles and reducing plastic waste. In some markets, Sprite bottles have switched from green to clear plastic to make recycling more efficient. The company is also working on reducing water usage in its plants, ensuring that the future of Sprite isn't just refreshing for consumers, but also more responsible for the planet. Have you ever cracked open an ice-cold Sprite on a hot summer afternoon and felt that instant rush of refreshment? The sharp fizz, the zesty lemon-lime kick, and the way those tiny bubbles tingle on your tongue make Sprite one of the most recognizable sodas in the world. But here's the question, have you ever stopped to wonder how that bottle or can of Sprite got into your hands, perfectly carbonated, sealed with freshness, and tasting exactly the same whether you're in New York, Los Angeles, or a small town in the Midwest? Today we're pulling back the curtain and taking you on an inside journey into the fascinating world of Sprite production, from the moment the carbonation process begins, all the way to the careful packaging and sustainable innovations that ensure every sip feels as crisp as the very first. If you think soda is just sugar, water, and bubbles, this story will change the way you look at your favorite drink forever. Let's start at the heart of Sprite, the carbonation process. Inside massive steel tanks, purified water is combined with that signature blend of lemon-lime flavoring and just the right amount of sweetness. But the magic truly happens when carbon dioxide is infused into the mix under high pressure. This process doesn't just add the fizz, it locks in freshness, making sure the flavor bursts with energy from the very first sip. Engineers working behind the scenes monitor the carbonation tanks down to the finest detail, checking temperature, pressure, and flow rates to make sure nothing is left to chance. One small change in carbonation levels could mean the difference between a perfectly bubbly Sprite and one that falls flat. For soda lovers in the US, that kind of consistency is non-negotiable, and Sprite has mastered it on a global scale. Once the formula is perfected, it's time for bottling, and this is where things get really impressive. Imagine a fully automated factory floor buzzing with activity. Thousands of PET plastic bottles, glass bottles, and aluminum cans are lined up on conveyor belts, moving in perfect rhythm like an orchestra where every piece has its part. Before a single drop of Sprite enters those containers, each one is thoroughly washed, sterilized, and inspected with high-speed cameras that detect even the tiniest imperfections. In the blink of an eye, bottles zip through cleaning tunnels that use jets of purified water and steam to make sure they're spotless. Only after passing inspection are they allowed to reach the filling line, where Sprite flows in with dazzling precision. Watching the liquid pour into each container is mesmerizing. The timing is so perfect that thousands of bottles can be filled in just minutes without a single spill. But filling is just the beginning. Sealing the bottles and cans is another marvel of engineering. In a fraction of a second, caps are twisted on and cans are crimped shut with airtight precision. This seal is critical. It traps the carbonation and guarantees that psst sound you hear when you first open a Sprite, followed by that rush of citrus aroma. Without that airtight seal, the experience wouldn't be the same. And it's not just about flavor, it's about food safety too. Every sealed bottle and can must hold up against transportation, storage and handling before it lands in your fridge. Engineers run stress tests to make sure that no cap pops open accidentally and no can loses its fizz, ensuring every sip feels as fresh as the day it was bottled. Once filled and sealed, Sprite moves to the packaging stage. Now this may sound simple, but it's one of the most important steps in the journey. Bottles and cans are gathered, sorted, and stacked into packs and cases. Cardboard trays, shrink wrap, and sturdy boxes are used to keep them safe as they prepare for long trips across highways, railroads, and even overseas shipments. Automated robotic arms carefully load cases onto pallets with mathematical accuracy, wrapping them tightly to prevent any shifting during transportation. Think about it. The bottle of Sprite you grab from your local store might have traveled hundreds, or even thousands, of miles, yet it arrives in perfect condition, ready to deliver that refreshing taste. That's only possible because of this meticulous packaging process. Now let's talk about something many people overlook: the sustainability behind Sprite's production. For decades, Sprite was instantly recognizable by its green plastic bottles. But recently you may have noticed a change. Those bottles are now clear, and there's a big reason behind it. Clear plastic is far easier to recycle, and by making the switch, Sprite has taken a huge step toward its environmental goals. The Coca-Cola Company, which owns Sprite, has pledged to collect and recycle 100% of its packaging by 2030, and redesigning bottles is one of the most visible ways to achieve that. But it doesn't stop there. Today Sprite bottles are made with a higher percentage of recycled plastic, reducing the need for new material and helping to cut down on waste. For American consumers who care about sustainability, this change represents not just a new look but a real commitment to protecting the planet. Behind the scenes, Sprite production facilities are also adopting energy-efficient technologies. From reducing water usage in their mixing and cleaning processes to installing renewable energy sources like solar and wind power, these factories are evolving with the times. Carbon emissions are being cut, and every drop of water is carefully monitored to make sure it's used responsibly. Even the heat generated from machinery is often repurposed to save energy. These might sound like small changes, but when you're producing millions of bottles of soda each day, the impact is massive. Every decision made in the factory translates to a smaller environmental footprint, which means every refreshing sip of Sprite also carries a little less burden on the earth. Of course, no story about Sprite would be complete without acknowledging the creativity behind its flavors. While the classic lemon-lime version is beloved across the United States, Sprite has experimented with new and exciting flavors over the years. From tropical blends to limited edition berry twists, these variations give fans something fresh to look forward to. Imagine a Sprite infused with cool mint, juicy watermelon, or even sweet peach, flavors that perfectly balance that sharp carbonation with a new fruity kick. Fans often share their dream Sprite flavors online, sparking conversations and challenges about what should come next. It's not just a drink, it's a cultural phenomenon that keeps evolving with consumer imagination. But perhaps the most fascinating part of Sprite's journey is how much effort goes into making every bottle feel exactly the same. Whether you're drinking Sprite in California, Texas, or New York, the flavor is identical. That's not by accident. It's the result of global standards, rigorous testing, and constant monitoring at every stage of production. Quality control teams regularly test samples, checking everything from sweetness levels to carbonation to ensure Sprite always delivers that crisp lemon-lime punch. For U.S. consumers, that consistency is part of the trust they've built with the brand for generations. No matter where you are, opening a Sprite feels like coming home to a familiar taste. The story of Sprite is more than just a tale of fizz and flavor. It's a journey of innovation, sustainability, and global connection. Every bottle carries with it a history of precise engineering, environmental responsibility, and consumer care. From the carbonation tanks that create the perfect bubble to the packaging systems that send bottles across the globe, Sprite is a masterpiece of modern manufacturing. And yet, it remains simple in its purpose: to refresh. That's why in the US, Sprite continues to be a go-to choice, whether it's sipped straight from the can, poured over ice in a tall glass, or mixed into creative cocktails and mocktails. However you enjoy it, Sprite has a way of making moments feel brighter, cooler, and more alive. So the next time you hear that familiar fizz and take that first icy sip, remember the incredible journey that Sprite has taken to reach you. Behind that refreshing taste is a story of science, sustainability, and a commitment to delivering perfection every time. It's more than a soda, it's a global icon, loved across generations and still evolving to meet the future. Whether you're a diehard fan of the classic or dreaming of the next bold flavor, one thing is certain: Sprite will always be there to refresh your world.